Hello, welcome to the home of the Ghost Down. I thought we'd just do a quick video on Once Human today and talk about Bounce. So Bounce was recently buffed in the update just before the holiday period, and I've now completed pretty much a whole season. We're just coming into phase 5, or just entered phase 5, but done the whole season with a Bounce weapon loadout. And so I've actually got to see the difference after the buff. And the buff does feel significant. So let's just talk about what we've got and what we're using to start with. So first off, we've got the Kumawink here. So the Kumawink is the MPS-5 submachine gun. This is currently a 3-star blueprint. We're currently at tier 5. All the gear you're going to see is tier 5. So you can see its impact damage, deals more damage against protocell, blah, blah, blah. But what we're really here to talk about is Bounce. So the weapon features there is 25% chance to trigger an AoE bounce hitting up to 3 targets. Bounce always triggers a rebound on hit, dealing 100% of the bounce damage, but no further bounces occur after the rebound. After reload, bounce trigger count +1 for 6 seconds. Effect is removed after switching weapons. And then bounce damage +30%. So that's what we've got on the Kumawink. But then also recalibration-wise, what we've done with that is we've got Vanguard style. So after reloading from empty, the next shot is guaranteed to trigger the keyword, which I think is really good. But the damage is -5%. But then we've also got crit rate of +4.1% and a crit rate of +6.9%. So that's the mod that we've added to it. And then, that's the calibration we've added to it. And then the weapon mod we've gone for is a bounce crit rate of +10% and bounce crit damage of +25%. So we're definitely pushing up the crit there. And if we actually go into the mod itself, this is a 5.5 mod, so it has been enhanced to the maximum. So if we can actually find the mod, there we go. So this is the mod. So as you can see there, we've also got weapon damage 3.6, damage against normal 4%, magazine capacity +7.2%, and I do like the increased magazine capacity on the MPS-5 because you do go through rounds really, really quickly. You've got status damage reduction of +4.8%. So it's really kind of, what you're lucky enough to get, unless you're making tons of these to get the stats you want. But that's the Kumawink. So that's kind of like the primary weapon. And I do tend to find it does work really well when you've got packs of enemies pretty close to you. So large groups of normal enemies. It works really well, and you do seem to get the bounce. And I will show you how that looks. Now, next up, as a secondary weapon, I say this is a full bounce build, is the hammer, the Brahmini, which is 50 cal, semi-automatic sniper. So with that, we have, again, it's a 3-star tier 5 blueprint. So you can see in terms of calibration there, stabilized style. So we're going to get +50 stability. That just allows us to literally pump off the shots as quickly as possible, as well as significant aim shake reduction. And then crit damage +11.5% and crit rate +6.5%, which is great for a sniper. And then if we look at its actual stats here, which is 60% chance to trigger bounce on hit, 35% against players. Bounces of +2, hitting the environment can also trigger a bounce, and damage decreases by 30%, 95% against players. So it's really not that great in PvP. Bounce weak spot priority is +100%. So that's the overall stats. And in terms of the actual weapon itself, penetration deals more damage against Rosetta, but we're not too worried about that. If we actually look at the mod that we've got, we're using multi-bounce. So that's the more bounces, the higher the damage, up to 45%, 7.5% per bounce. And with that, we got increase of weapon damage, we got damage against great ones, damage against normal enemies, and then status damage reduction. So that's where we are. So that's our 2 main weapons with the mods we're using. And then on top of that, we're using the katana, So obviously this isn't bounce. This is basically pushing up the crit. So you can see their calibration. We've gone for light striker style, and we've pushed again crit rate up on both of those. But then also the mod we're using is the more selectable targets bounce has, the higher the bounce damage, up to 45%, 15% per target. Weapon damage, damage against normal enemies, magazine capacity, and status damage reduction. And then, so that's the weapon loadout that we've got. And then we've gone for the gear loadout. We're going for a 4 set of the Lone Wolf, which gives us the magazine capacity bonus. That's really going to help, again, as I said, on the SMG. 5% crit rate, which is really nice. And then it's the Lone Shadow stacks, right? So you're getting Lone Shadow with every 2 weapon crits. Lone Shadow crit damage plus 6% for 30 seconds, which can stack up to 8 times. And then an increase of max Lone Shadow stacks to 10 and crit rate plus 8% for 2 seconds after reloading. So those are the 4 pieces. We're taking the head, the chest, the gloves, and the mask. And then separate to that, we're taking the boots, which are the Bastille boots. The reason we're taking those is when HP is above 70%, weapon damage plus 10%. That's a great thing to have. And then we're taking the pants as our bounce choice. I've gone for the sharp blade pants. I tried the tattoo pants. I prefer the sharp blade pants, with the unique effect being bounce trigger count plus 1. So that's what we're using. And I have to say, bounce is working really well when it comes to clearing out strongholds, dealing with elites. I still don't think it's as good. Like I've been using prior to that the bullseye sniper rifle and the last Valor, which is a shrapnel. So that's a bullseye shrapnel build, and I think that performs better against the bosses. But this has still done pretty good. And actually, when fighting the Lone Wolf, as you'll see on the Once Human series, it was pretty good at when you wanted to go for a Lone Wolf, it would take out the orbs without you having to aim at them because it would just bounce onto them. So if you are in a situation where the enemy does have lots of ads around them as well, that the bounce build can really help out. But going full bounce, I still prefer the Bullseye Last Valor Shrapnel build. But great for clearing out, as I say, strongholds and stuff. Very quick, dealing with hordes of enemies. And I think this is also very good when you're dealing with the passes to do like the Black Fell extraction, where you've got to defend the machinery, because you've got hordes of non-elite enemies. You can take them out very fast. And even dealing with elites, a sniper is really, really good at dealing with elites. And in fact, we'll kill where we currently are, which is calibration 10. But with everything we've got, most of the time you can kill most elites in Red Sands, where we are, for example, in a single mag, which is pretty good. The other thing you get, obviously, because we're just using bounce, and we're using an SMG and a sniper, we get massive benefits to our override cradle, which I hadn't originally considered. And the reason is because on this, anti-phase applies to sniper rifles and SMGs. So you get both benefits. So you get both weapons get a benefit on a single node. So that actually worked out really well. Then that allows us to take Deviant Energy Defense. We were able to take jump and glide speed and damage reduction while jumping and gliding, which was kind of like, well, what else do you take? Because we actually had so much space left. Tactical combo, so weapon damage plus 25% after switching weapons or reloading. Deviation Master for damage against bosses and elites. Lone Walker, because I play solo PvE. And then you go for Deadly Combo. Now, Deadly Combo, after triggering bullet effects, bounce and shrapnel, bullet effect damage plus 25% for 4 seconds. Works really, really well. And of course, the one thing, because we're using just bounce as our keyword, again, we don't need 2 nodes in this category, right? Because you just go for the bounce and it covers both weapons. Then we've also got bounce rampage. So after triggering a bounce damage plus 5% for 15 seconds up to 5 stacks. And this is working really, really well. So The only other thing that you can actually add to this is you could go for some like stargazy pie for your legendary food, and that would of course boost your crit damage. But let's just have a quick look. Let's just go out and take a quick look at the sort of damage that Bounce is going to do. And we're going to go after an elite, which is just on top of the hill up over here. So let's go and check that out. And as you can see, I've got no food buffs, right? So we're going assuming you've just got the gear loadout that I've taken. So, you know, we're focused on stacking crit and crit rate because we don't need elemental damage. We're not pushing for status damage. We're just going for that crit rate, crit damage as much as possible, while also making sure that we've got every type of bounce enhancement thing that we can. So the override nodes, all the mods that you can, and so on. So it's just on top of the hill over to the left, and there will be an elite up there, assuming nobody's killed it, but nobody normally does. So we've got no food buffs. Normally in this area you want to be drinking your beer so that you don't take any of that sanity hit, but it's not going to matter where we are. Right, I'm going to show you the sniper rifle first, just because of how good that works. So now on these mobs here, it's okay. It just depends if it triggers, right? So there you go. Bounce didn't trigger. Bounce triggers, insta kill. Right, if you get the bounce to trigger, it will insta kill a normal mob, and normally 2 to 3 other mobs near. I'm just going to pick this silver up because it would be a shame to walk past silver, especially since we can smelt it. Right, so if we come up here, you know, we can see, again, we'll just kill the normal mobs around the elite, just to give you an idea. So there you go, there's one, didn't trigger, and didn't trigger. So, you know, you do, with the sniper, it's not always going to trigger. It does rely, there you go, that triggered, and then as soon as it triggers, it will insta-kill. So as long as it triggers, you'll insta-kill the mobs. Now, where you're getting multiple shots on the same target, this is an elite, so this is an elite disciple. If we're going for the headshots, so if we watch here how quickly we can take this guy down. There's 1, 2, there's it triggering, there's it going again. Oh, he's moved, and he's dead. And that's it. So if you look, that took 5 rounds to kill an elite. Yeah? 5 rounds to kill an elite with a sniper. So just pick this up as we go. And then if we go down, we'll go down here and we'll see if we can find a bunch of mobs to use the SMG. We'll try and gather a few up. So there's normally a few on the row down over here. So as you can see there, the bounce on the sniper working really, really well. So you can see down here we got a bunch of mobs around. We want to try and gather them up and show the SMG. So if we run in here, there they all come. We'll run past them all. There they go. There they're gathered up. Now watch this. Okay. You can see it's not bad. It depends on the mobs. There you go, and that kills it. And we got some bounces off this as well. So we'll just go and do that again. We'll find some more mobs. There you go. There's 3 mobs in here, right? And the more mobs there are, the better it will work. So if we run through here, okay, now they will now start to come towards us. Wait for them to be close enough. And they go down pretty quickly. Now, the SMG does go through the rounds really fast, but you can see if you've got a group of mobs like that, it absolutely tears through them. Yeah. But if you've just got one, you're still using a similar amount of rounds just to kill one, right? I mean, we weren't hitting every single headshot on that one. But it goes to show, actually, you use a similar amount of rounds, but you can kill way more. So the bounce SMG definitely works well. You can see there. That still took 4 rounds to kill one of those because we only got bounce triggering once. Right. But yeah, if you've got a lot of mobs, you can really get the benefit of the bounce. And that's why I think the Black Fell extraction doing purification on your territory. Anywhere where you've got lots of normal mobs around and then an elite or so for the sniper, bounce works really well. I still don't think for great ones it works the best. If we take a look at a sniper here, we can see if we trigger bounce on this one. Didn't trigger. And there you go. Oh, it didn't quite kill the other one. Nearly killed him. But often, when you've got mobs close enough together, depending on how tough they are, you can actually get multiple kills on the same one. In fact, there's a really good place over by the hospital. So if we run over there, we'll just check that out. We'll kill the elite. I'll show you how quickly we can kill the elite. You know, and the good thing is you can often kill elites. There you go. So that's another 5-6 rounds. You can often kill elites in and amongst a lot of other mobs because it will just bounce and kill those straight out, right? So if we come over here, and we're just going to get a bunch of normal mobs together. There should be a bunch over by the hospital. And the key is the distance, because the distance is still relatively small. So like here, that should be enough. You can see it gets him. That one doesn't have the distance, as you see. Now, the one thing you can do, if you trigger a bounce and somebody's coming behind you, it kills the person behind you as well. And you can see, the one thing you have to be aware of with the bounce is sometimes it may trigger enemies that you don't want it to trigger. So you have to be careful of that because you may trigger more enemies than you want. But you should be able to deal with it. The bounce, as you can see, will bounce off the floor. However, if you use your lone wolf... What are they attacking? Oh, they're attacking that, right? So if I use my lone wolf over here, when it kills a target, it doubles, right? Oh, it killed him too quickly. Oh, there you go. So when you've got your lone wolf, right, when it kills something, it doubles. You can now bounce off your wolves. So if you've got more than one wolf, the more wolves you have up, the more bounces you can trigger. So the lone wolf is also a really great a deviant to have when using this weapon because you can trigger bounces off that weapon as well. So for me, I think bounce is great, as I say, for coming in here and clearing out all this stuff really quickly. It's really good. The sniper rifle can be really bullet efficient because you can end up getting 2 or 3 kills off a single bullet, which is really good as well. So if you're worried about how many bullets you've got, you shouldn't be. But if you are, you know, there I'm using tungsten bullets, but steel bullets work just as well. And as you can see, it's great and easy for taking out elites. Like I say, I have defeated all the bosses in the game solo on normal mode with this bounce build that you currently see here. So Araxium, the Wolf, and the Forsaken Giant, and you'll be able to see that on the Once Human series. So you'll see that on the videos. You can go and watch those kills. Overall, bounce is definitely better, much better than when I first used it. I definitely saw the improvement over my 4th season of Manibus because the buff came in during that season. And yeah, overall, I think it's decent. And if I was able to run around with multiple weapon sets at calibration 10 with all the mods I wanted and everything else, then I would definitely have a bounce build for doing stronghold clearing, for doing securement silos, for doing extraction passes, and then I would switch to my Bullseye Last Valor or a Jaws Unstable build for doing the Great One bosses. Hope you all found that useful. If you did, let me know in the comments down below and give the video a thumbs up. And as always, you know, please subscribe. It does make a huge difference for me, so I do really appreciate that. You've been watching The Ghost Owl, and I'll see you all very, very soon.